The DJI Mavic Air 2 now has a release date and time. We're going to take a look at that and also take a deep dive into what all the possible features and pricing may be. That's all coming up next. Hey everyone, Bill from BillTheDroneReviewer, where I make drone and drone related videos. If you're new here, welcome. Consider hitting the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by co-hosts Ron Braun and Marcus Crawford. Lauren Donauer had the evening off. We spent a majority of the evening discussing the DJI Mavic Air 2. Among some of the things we discussed were the release date and time, and we also took a deep dive into what all the possible options may be on the DJI Mavic Air 2. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and roll that clip in its entirety. Well, Lauren's not here to join us tonight. We're going to kind of flip gears here. All right. The Mavic Air 2, it's hot, and it's hotter than hot. And the news is coming out left and right and fast and furious and everything. And I'm going to go ahead, and there's an article. As you all know, Hey Kesselu's no longer with Drone DJ, and he's with XL Drone. That's the name of his new outfit. Now we're going to go ahead and actually Drone XL. I'm sorry. Do is go ahead and share the screen here. Now this article just came out, and it says April 27th confirmed again. Breaking news: DJI confirms launch on April 27th. Introduction to DJI Mavic Air 2. Please note, now this was a note apparently to a select group of recipients. Hope you're all staying healthy, safe, and sane throughout what's going on. I'm reaching out with some exciting news from DJI under embargo. If interested in learning more, please agree to adhering to its verbal NDA. We can set up some time this week to brief you on the announcement. Please note that all information regarding this email is held under embargo until April 27th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so that pretty much just lays it out for you. Okay, that it's going to happen. Now, he goes in and he kind of pontificates here a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and bring up another article that he wrote that talks about this. And he says the Mavic Air 2 available in all colors as long as it's gray. Single and a fly more combo, and the fly more combo is going to be the usual extra batteries and bag and probably charger. Official launch and official Mavic Air release date is scheduled for April 27th. DJI will start shipping to customers around May 11th, and dealers should be able to order slightly before the official release date. Now, what's real interesting here, and Hey talks about it right here. Normally, DJI would invite press and media people to a location in New York City. However, with the city being a corona hotspot, this would be a bad idea. So interesting to see how DJI will do it this time, 100% online product launch. And I want to stop, and that's the first thing I want to talk about. Gentlemen, the Mavic Mini, it was 100% online product launch, okay? There was no event in New York City, anywhere. It was out on the webpage, okay? And, we've talked about this before, and I know the three of us have talked about it, where, it is advantageous for them, especially, well, obviously, with COVID-19 going on, that wasn't even going to be a thought. But even if it was going on, okay, they can still get the same kind of exposure and just do everything, just doing it online and doing what they call those soft launches, okay? Because, okay, these products, DJI products sell themselves, okay? You don't have to, you don't have to stand up there and have Michael Oldenburg doing what he did for the Mavic 2. And in fact, that's the last drone that was actually launched at a launch event, okay, was the Mavic 2, okay? Everything else that DJI has done, well, they actually did the Osmo Pocket was done at a launch event, but that was a really small one. I mean, really small event. But everything else, I mean, it's all been online. The RoboMaster's been online. The Mavic Mini's been online.
Let me slow your roll down for a minute. I mean, I know they've had new price drones, but after the Mavic, the Mavic 2 series of drones. The only drone they've released since then is the Mini, correct?
Yeah, it's been the Mini.
So
yeah.
all the other products, I mean, even though they're all interesting products, they don't have enough pre-interest and hype to probably draw a lot of people in for a big event. Is that, would you concur?
Yeah, I would agree, Ron. I think, it's not going to gain a lot of media attention. Although, with the drone, and I just want to get your guys' feelings for this. When DJI announces a drone, it's always been a big deal, okay? And look how good the Mini's done, all right? And they went to a different platform, and it's like Lauren has said, they can't keep them in stock. I mean, they're still selling well, and it's going on what? We're getting from April into May right now. I mean, it's like how many months out?
Well, we're almost 6 months in, right, Bill?
Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible amount of time. I mean, when it first launched, it was like, it was like everybody was grabbing them left and right. And I figured, a couple of months, you'd be able to see them at Best Buy and everything. You still can't even go into Best Buy and buy one. Okay. You have to order it.
Well, to your point, Bill, is a good thing they didn't waste a lot of money on some kind of big fancy event or whatever, because they didn't need it. Just as you pointed out, you still can't get it in Best Buy or whatever. They're still selling like hotcakes. So they would have wasted their money on some event to hype up the interest because they didn't need to. And I think going forward, I'm going to let Marcus get his point in. Going forward, the only events we'll see from them is on their flagship products, like say the Mavic 3 or whatever. We won't see events on non-flagship products. Marcus?
Ron, so I was just about to say what you just said exactly. So if we think about the Mavic 3, when that comes out, hey, it is a more expensive product. It is more of a flagship product, has no question bigger margins, so they can afford to do an event with that. And as both of you said, there's probably isn't a need. There's a lot of pent-up demand. I mean, just look in the chat here. There's a lot of demand for that Mavic that's coming, that's going to be released on the 27th. So they probably don't need to have an event. The other lesson here is, I believe, if you want one, make sure you order on that release day or on the announcement day, because the people that waited for the Mini, often, many of them, not all, but many of them got in a queue and waited much longer even than we had to for the Mini. And Bill's point that he made yesterday on ZinoNation is important too. Also, pay attention to Best Buy, because Bill snookered all of us on that first Mini deal. He ordered off of Best Buy and he got his drone on the release day. So couple of different ways to think about that.
Hey, I make a correlation, but between the Mavic, the DJI products and stuff. Like, look at Apple when they release an iPhone, which is their version of like the Mavic 2 or 3 series, they have a big event and people there. But when they release a new iPad or whatever, there's no event. It's just there or whatever. They just released, even during the virus, they released new iPads. Just a press release and it's on the site. They release some updates to their laptops or whatever. It's just there or whatever. You just go by. Their only event is for the flagship product, the thing that drives the company. The iPhone or whatever. Just like I think DJI, same way thing. The Mavic, the top Mavic level, Mavic 3, the top Mavic is what drives the company. Everything else is just, they're good solid products, but they don't warrant an event. But yeah, I agree with you. Old Bill, nobody can outsmart Bill about getting to a product first. So I'm going to follow Bill's Best Buy lead maybe this time. But
yeah,
go throw it back to Bill here.
No, I was just going to say the same thing, Ron. I think, when we're going to, and by the way, we might even do a simulcast on both channels, both on ZinoNation and on BillTheDroneReviewer that night, because that's when it's coming out. So I think that would be an exciting event, and we'll work out details before that happens.
Bill, isn't that funny? It's at 27th at 9 p.m. the start time for ZinoNation.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
we'll take pre-orders on the show. You send Marcus and I and Bill your money and whatever, and we'll eventually get you a Mavic Air too.
that's right. After we let it sit in the bank for a couple of weeks and make
And
some
draw a lot of nice fat interest on it.
Well, okay, you make a great point as far as the Best Buy is concerned here, Ron. And I think that's a good thing. And I kind of touched on it a little bit last night on ZinoNation. Stimulus checks are coming, and it's like I wish we, it's like I wish we didn't need to get these. Okay, I'll just say that for right now. But what a better thing to do than invest. When you spend your money, to spend it at Best Buy. Okay, because you're supporting an American company. I mean, they are an American company. Their headquarters is in Minnesota, and they've kind of had a resurgence as of the past couple of years. They got a new CEO in. He's done a lot of right things with them, and it's still it's starting to be a fun place to go to again. It wasn't for a while, but now it is. And and they've done a lot of things right there. I mean, now they have curbside pickup at Best Buy. Did you guys know that? You park in a parking spot, just like I can go to Publix, call a phone number, and boom, they're bringing me out my package. I don't even have to go in the store.
You can't go, and around here, you can't go into Best Buy anymore. A customer can't walk in the store. You can only pick up.
That's crazy.
Because of the virus, yeah.
Because of the virus, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the way it is. And I mean, even normal they would do that, but now it's kind of nice. And what makes it even nicer is they can throw it in the back of the bed of my pickup, which is kind of nice. And we've had
you don't even have to touch it. Yeah,
don't even have to touch it till we get home. And take gloves out and do the whole disinfecting kind of thing. But that would be one of the primary areas that I would look at first when you're considering to purchase this. Is for those U.S. customers here who are U.S. people who are in the chat is to look at Best Buy, or maybe in your country look at a big box retailer that carries DJI products and see if they have it in stock. Because we went out there, and I'll kind of relay this story with the Mavic Mini, and we're all excited, we're getting ready to order, and I know both Ron and Marcus and I were online, and we're hitting, and I initially ordered it from DJI, and then I saw the shipping time frame, and I'm like, holy crap. I said, I can't wait that long to get it. I says, because it's coming out on I think it was the 11th. I think it was Veterans Day. Okay, that it was actually supposed to be in the stores. And then I went out real quick on a whim. I said, you know what? I'm going to check Best Buy. And I checked Best Buy, and it says product will be available for in-store pickup and I said, done. So I went out immediately. Okay, I canceled my order from DJI. I got the cancellation in time, and then I went out to Best Buy to get it. Well, I'm going to do the reverse this time. Okay, instead of going out to DJI first, I'm going to go out to Best Buy first, because having that pickup. Well, here now, not only having in-store pickup, but if you have it scheduled for delivery, it should be delivered that day. All right. I would rather go to the store and have them do the pick up and bring it to you kind of thing than that. But that's 6 of one, half dozen the other. What are you guys' thoughts about that?
Hey, Bill, real fast, we got a good question in the chat here from Canadian Drone Pilot. He said, what is the dollar prediction for the Fly More kit for the new DJI Mavic Air 2 drone?
Now, that's a real good question. Now, I know Lauren has, and I know, and someone posted maybe Lauren's under NDA, and that's why he's not with it, and it could very well be. But he had mentioned like $799 for like just the base kit. Yeah. And as Hay alluded to in his article, expect to pay a couple $100 more.
So you think $999 for
$999? It'll be under $1K. And I almost always, if you can afford to get that Fly More kit, to do it. And it's not so much more for that case that's going to come with it. The case is quasi-functional, the ones that come with it. Okay. But what the big value for that is the extra batteries that you get, the charger that you would get with that, and you probably get extra props, maybe prop guards and some other things. But I think the big thing is the batteries and that charging brick that you get with that, and the charging hub. I think that's worth it, because to go out there and individually buy the batteries and buy that charging hub, you're spending more money that way. So
true. But another thing, besides just the value, whatever, sometimes again, I don't know what the strategy here is, but sometimes if you order the Fly More kit, it comes later.
True. And that's what happened in,
the Mini. right?
Well, the Mini,
The base Mini came faster than the Fly More kit, even though it was the opposite on the Zino too.
Now, what I did was I did get the Fly More kit, and it came in on the date it was supposed to at Best Buy. Okay, because now I remember exactly what was going on. The base kit was available immediately from DJI, but the Fly More kit you had to wait on, and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not doing this with DJI. So I went to Best, boom, done right away. And the beautiful thing is they take PayPal, which is and if you guys, just as an FYI for everybody out there, no matter what drone you're buying, wherever you're buying it, try to buy with pay. Try to look for a place that will do PayPal. I mean, if you have issues, I mean, it's even better than a credit card company because they are very pro the consumer. Okay, they will 9 times out of 10 you won't have problems. I'm not saying they're perfect, but it's a great resolution, especially when you're dealing with international companies. Okay, that may not honor credit cards and all that stuff. PayPal is international. Okay, so anyway, okay, off that part. I want to talk a little bit more about the drone. Okay. Now, some of the pictures that had surfaced recently, and I know on Drone XL, showed the battery compartment, and we got to see a good top of the drone. Now, we didn't see a top sensor on that drone. So that leads everybody to believe that there's not going to be 360 obstacle avoidance on this. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I think you're probably right. It's so hard to predict what DJI is going to do. But because some of those guys that have been right in the past are saying that, Bill and Ron, I would tend to agree with it. Here's what I want to know is we're all, of course, hoping for something other than Wi-Fi on that drone, hoping that it'll be, if not OcuSync 2, some version of OcuSync or some sort of Wi-Fi on steroids. So that we hope for. Also, we know it's going to have the receiver version of ADS-B, and I can't remember what DJI calls that, Bill. They got a name for it for their version of it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I think it's called AirSense.
AirSense. There you go.
Yeah.
AirSense.
But the thing that I've said this before, and you guys know it, there is going to be something on that release that's going to blow our mind that we haven't even thought of that they are going to put into that drone. And is it some new kind of obstacle avoidance or something? Who knows? Well, I guess we'll have to wait until the 27th to find out.
And I know Marcus has said this before, and it's worth repeating because it's all the time. When the Mavic 2 series comes out, okay, they hit us with not one but 2 models, okay, the Pro and the Zoom, okay. Nobody saw that coming, all right. And I think a lot of the hindsight in that was when the Anafi came out, all right, because they wanted to be able, and it was easy, very easy swap for DJI to put in a different camera system, and boom, it was done, okay. And they did something we didn't even think of with that, all right. Whereas
here
they're going to do that too.
Hey, I'm going to answer your question, but real fast, I want to highlight Michael Wright said he just checked and Best Buy has the Air for the old Air for $599. I read you could even get the old Air cheaper than that now. So different retailers are apparently dumping the Mavic Air 1 now. So that leads more credence to what we're talking about. But I want to answer Bill's question before I never get to it. But he asked about the sensors not being on 360 on top, and that leads credence to me that maybe we will get that $799 price point, because if they're going to release it for $799, we can't get everything we want. Something has to go or whatever, and that has to be 360 obstacle avoidance sensors. I can live with that if they keep the price down. And also too, they probably want to say the 360 obstacle avoidance for their top of the line model. They probably don't want to let that filter down too low in the food chain also. But I think it's more that if they want to keep that $799 price point, they have to make sacrifices. And I'd much rather sacrifice the sensors than the OcuSync. So
I agree.
What do you think, Bill?
And here's the thing, and I know we kind of talked about this, and a lot of people in the chat last night, and I know You know, when we talked with Al last night, you know, it was almost unanimous that it has to have some kind of OcuSync or light bridge or some other kind of non-Wi-Fi technology in it. And I will say this, and I said it last night on ZinoNation, and I'll say it here on this again. I'm about 99.9% sure it's going to have that on there, because DJI would shoot themselves in the foot if they were coming out with a Wi-Fi drone like this. Everybody's going to go, oh no, not again. You know, well, we're putting
my watch goes right back in my back pocket again if it's a Wi-Fi drone.
Well, you know, and I know Marcus made a good point last night. All right, with, you know, the improved Wi-Fi on the Mavic Mini. All right, and that is worth noting here. But I think people are expecting an up from the Mavic Mini in this case. Go ahead, Marcus.
Yeah. So the feature that they have shown in some of the pictures that I am hoping alludes to something else is that new controller. What I'm hoping is that this drone, like you said, Bill, is available with OcuSync 2, and you can buy it with the smart controller.
That at a much higher price. Yeah. And for somebody like Marcus, who already owns a Mavic 2 series drone, OcuSync 2, he is a smart controller that works 2 drones. But we talked about Bill's, you know, OcuSync guarantee, and why that's so important is not necessarily for Marcus and me, which fly in rural areas. We could take a Wi-Fi drone out pretty darn far. But our friend Philly Drone Life, who's in the chat right now, I want to shout out. We're going live right after this show with the Philly and Ron show, whatever. That's my shameless promo in there. But Mike, a Wi-Fi drone doesn't do him any good, because he's in a city where there's a million Wi-Fi hotspots around him, and he can't even get to the end of the block with a Wi-Fi drone. Marcus and I may be able to fly that drone a mile out, but he can't get down the block. So that's why the OcuSync 2 is so important. And Bill right now has got the leaked or rumored Mavic Air 2 controller up on the screen. Bill, take it away.
Yeah, you know, you look at the controller, and like Lauren pointed out, what's it look like? You know, and the first thing you hit, it looks like a smart controller without the screen. I mean, really, seriously, you think about it. You know, it's almost the size, everything. It just screams that it's the smart controller. I mean, it really does. And, you know, just everything about that. I just, you know, it was good that I'm glad I found it. I'm glad Hay had that on here, you know. And then just, you know, I'm gonna go up here, and we're gonna take a look here. You can see obviously there's a sensor on the back, on the bottom here.
Yeah, one of those is an LED, right, Bill? It looks like.
Yeah, one of those is an LED right there. So, so it's gonna have
Bill, is that guaranteed not to have the Hubsan drop?
It's guaranteed not to have the Hubsan drop, or your money back. No. And here's the battery compartment here, and it shows this is the FCC approval on this, which is interesting.
So okay, what's your prediction of the battery? Do you think they'll quote like a 30-minute flight time?
I think we'll get a 30-minute flight time on this too, which will, you know, if
a 30-minute flight time with that'll be an actual 25 minutes. Or
about 25, which I'll tell you what, you know, and think about it. And we talked about this last night on the FEMI X8 SE 2020, you know, having 25 minutes. And I think Al was talking about this. I mean, he said, you know, 25 minutes for him is the world, okay, for what he shoots. And Al's right. For most of us, having a 25, 30 minutes on a drone, being able to have it up in the air, I mean, seriously, what can't you capture in 25 minutes, okay? You know, it's like Marcus, for example, you know, you go up to the Snake River, you know, you're going down. You're going to eat up battery, okay? Because you have, I mean, the scenery up there is just drop dead gorgeous, all right? Of course, you want to run that thing down there like that, and you're going to need a lot of battery to do that. But some of the videos that Marcus shoots, I'm just like, okay, I want to get on a plane, you know, after coronavirus is over, and I'm going to be knocking on his door. And I said, you know, I got 20 batteries with me. Let's go, pal. You know, to shoot that, you know, it's just like it's so good. I mean, it's so, you know, so 25 minutes. I think, as far as a battery life is concerned, I think that's fantastic. I really do.
Especially at an under $1,000 price point. It certainly is. Hey, I want to shout out, we got Ray Kelly in the chat with us tonight. Ray Kelly is one of the top Mavic Mini pilots down there in South Florida on the East Coast there. He flies all over around Palm Beach or whatever. So big shout out to my buddy Ray.
Yeah, Ray, it's definitely a shout out to you. And when this whole pandemic thing is over, you know, I'll come over your side, you come over my side. We'll have some fun on the beaches here. So, you know, with our drones, I think that would be a good thing.
How about Floyd Moats? He hopes the Mavic Air 2 uses the DJI Go 4 app. He can't use his Crystal Sky on the DJI Fly app. Bill, we never talked about that before. Is it a guarantee that this will use the standard Go 4 app, or you think they may move this over to the Fly app also? Nobody's talking about this.
That's really, and that's why, you know, would have been nice to have kind of pinged Lauren and kind of got some of his thoughts on this. You know, the Fly app is great, and I'll tell you that. And I think we all talked about this, you know, and I know Marcus and I have both of us have the same pet peeve, is the lettering. Sometimes when you have a white sky up there, you can't.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. But other than that, for me, the Fly app, it's easy, it's intuitive. The menus, because in the Go 4 app, if you remember, and Floyd, you know, the Go 4 app, you have to go into sub menus to find things. All right. And it's not always like right there at the tip of your hand. Whereas on the DJI Fly app, it's like right there. I mean, you don't really have to go down into sub menus to find things, which I think is great. And I hope it was a model for future DJI apps. I don't know. I think that's a great question. But for me, what I think, this is just my gut feeling, I think they're still going to go with a Go 4 kind of an app. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Hey, so I just wanted to throw one caveat on what you just said, Bill, with regard to the Fly app. And like you, I really like it for the simplicity of it and the ease to get to some things, not everything. Some things you do have to drill down. But because the Mavic Mini doesn't have a lot of specialized functions, it can use a stripped down app like that. And I think as you get into the more full featured drones, it's tough for DJI to do that. I'm not saying that the app couldn't be organized better, but that's just a point. So who knows? And another version, an improved version of the Fly app for this new drone would be welcome as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Just as you said, Bill, as long as they change the color of that lettering at the top, make it black, make it red, make it anything but
anything.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah. Stephen Ewing.
Back to Floyd's point, though. He doesn't want the Fly 2 app because of not being able to use the Crystal Sky. And also, if we're hoping for a smart controller, we don't know if the Fly app works on the smart controllers. That was kind of his point. That it's not the Fly app versus the DJI Go 4 app. Which one's better? It's because of compatibility issues. It was Floyd's main concern.
That's a good point, Floyd. Thanks for bringing that up.
That's why Ron gets paid the big bucks. I'm just telling you.
That's right.
Floyd's my main man. Floyd and I have been working together for a couple years here in the drone business. So Floyd sets me up with the good questions.
Yeah, Floyd does. He does a good job with that. Okay. Well, it's like one of the other things that I wanted to talk about here is this. I see this. It's once again, and this is something, and I want to ask you guys this question here. Is it fits? DJI is a genius with their marketing. Okay, there's no question about that. Okay. And Frank Wang, when you find out things about him, one of the things that he's always done is he doesn't want to be second. He always wants to be number one, and he wants DJI to always be number one in whatever area they're at, and with consumer drones. Okay, so the Spark gets replaced by the Mavic Mini. Okay, the Mavic Pro gets replaced by the Mavic 2. Okay, I'm just going to talk consumer drones here for a minute, and then I'm not going to go to the Phantom series. But then there's that gap, and the Mavic Air was good, okay, but it needed a lot of improvements, okay, and we all know what the big thing was, the Wi-Fi and the sounded like a freaking hornet's nest, okay. And again, I know my friend Ian he lives in Southeast UK, in England. He said he sold it simply because he couldn't stand the noise. Okay, had nothing to do with the Wi-Fi. that noise just drove them nuts. Okay. So, once again, and like Marcus said, they're going to come out with something in this that we haven't talked about. All right. That's going to be something that you want. It's kind of like, it's like Steve Jobs was famous for that. Okay. He put things on the iPhone that you didn't know you wanted until you had it. And then you said you can't live without it, kind of a thing. Okay. And that's the same kind of, and I love that. Okay. I think that in a owner of a company, I think that's fantastic. And it makes you really appreciate the technology that they put into this. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is this ADS-B, or the AirSense, that's going to be in there. Because I'll tell you what, guys, I actually saw it in use. It was on a Matrice, okay, a Matrice 200. I actually saw it in use. It was on a Crystal Sky. But I'll tell you what, you could see everything, all right? And now what's real interesting, back at the time, that was only on commercial craft.
I was about to ask you, will this be the first consumer price drone that had that feature, Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
And the other interesting thing about this, a lot of people don't, you don't know. I get emails all the time from the FAA. I signed up for emails from them, and I have to wade through them sometimes. But one of them is this: as of January 1st of this year, all aircraft, okay, even your Cessnas, 150s, everything had to have an ADS-B transceiver on it and receiver, both. Okay. So your private aircraft now, and that includes helicopters, everything has to have ADS-B transceiver and receiver on it. Okay. That was mandated. And the FAA came on out. That was a year ago that they said that, and they gave you a year to come up to standards. And January 1st, it has to be. And if your aircraft, it'll fail an inspection if it doesn't have that. Okay. So what that means basically is, when I'm out in the backyard and I throw that Mavic Air 2 up in the air and I'm looking on there, I'm going to see not only commercial aircraft that are up there, I'm going to see these small private Cessnas and Beechcrafts and helicopters, anything that's up in the air, I'm going to see. And it's, and a lot of times, and I know both you guys are like this. And, I'm looking this way, looking up, before I take off, even though, it shows that I'm clear where I'm at. But invariably I'll hear a plane in the area, and it's just like all of a sudden I stop my sticks and I'll go down about 50 feet, and I'm just like, where is it? I can't see it, kind of a thing. Well, there's going to be no more guesswork with that, guys. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, exactly right, Bill. I mean, my ears are one of my best resources when I'm flying my drone. I don't know about you guys, but anytime I hear the faintest sound of an aircraft, my head is on a swivel looking around for where it's at. And if I don't see it, or I think even it could remotely be close, I'm pulling down on that left stick hard. So ADS-B, that receiver, is going to be great, because then there's absolutely no guesswork at that point. You're going to know every aircraft that's in your area.
I agree. I think it'll be, interesting to have, for sure, and a safety measure. But also, Bill, what I'm wondering is, with them adding ABS to it, or they make the drone more secure, maybe the Mavic Air 2. I keep getting these names. I gotta make sure I say them right. Maybe this will be the first drone made that maybe it'll be able to kind of pass the new FFA rules, which you haven't talked about because of the coronavirus. But after they get adjusted down a little bit, maybe this drone will be compliant enough that you can still fly this drone in 3 years. Any thoughts?
That's a real good. Once again, Marcus, we're with the man down here. Okay, we're with the man. He always comes up, with these brilliant things here. I gotta point my fingers right. Let's see if I get it right. There we go.
I heard this brilliant idea in the chat someplace.
But no, Ron brought, and it's an excellent point, and I think it is. I think it is the kind of drone that's going to be new rule worthy, for lack of a better term. And I'll say this, okay, and I'm just going to throw this out here. I'm wondering if the FAA is going to maybe kind of like take a step back on all this stuff after everything that's happened, and say, you know what, let's just kind of chill on this for a while and just kind of like just put this to the back burner.
And maybe DJI already kind of has, an inside, somebody there that they already maybe know that the FFA may, get pushed back to the point where maybe the I can't say it, what? Say I can't say the number.
ADSB.
Yeah, maybe they already know that this may be enough to keep that drone flight worthy in 3 years. Maybe DJI knows, more than we do about how the proposed FFA rules are going to be are going to kind of roll out, how they're going to roll out after all the comments and stuff. Again, this has all been we've been pushed the whole back conversation to back burner with the coronavirus. I'm sure that there's all the politicians are involved in this. They're too busy back in their own states worrying about the coronavirus to have this be on the forefront anymore. But I'm just saying maybe DJI knows something we don't, and that's why this drone's coming out as the FFA rule beater drone.
And Ron brings up a good point here. It's like there is so much that's going on right now that, it's probably the last thing on any lawmakers' minds, and it's probably the last thing on the FAA minds right now is to come out with something like this. Okay, because in the area that which I'm in, all right, the way things are for us, it's really kind of frowned upon. Unless you're going outside to check the mail, take the dog outside, that kind of thing. They don't even really want you being outside where I'm at. Okay, that's the consensus around here. So we've been trying to follow that. And getting outside is not what it used to be right now. Okay, there are people that aren't following it, but for the most part, that's why I haven't been flying my drones as of late. That's why you haven't seen a Zino 2 first flight video, because of that right now. So I'm just kind of waiting. It'll probably be a couple of weeks, but I'll get out there and get that first flight in. But we need to kind of like it's good. It's going to happen sooner rather than later, and we'll be looking at it in a different light. The DJI release event will be entitled "Up Your Game." It will be held on Monday, April 27th at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, join Ron, Marcus, myself on both of our channels, as we will be doing a simulcast on both ZinoNation and BillTheDroneReviewer starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time that night. We'll be having more details coming out on that shortly. Question of the day: what's one feature that the DJI Mavic Air 2 must have? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, stay home, stay alive.